Hello, friends. This is Kristen. Today's question is a little hard to hear. Sorry about that. But I'm wanting to know, when was the last time you shamed yourself? It's important because this week I was watching Jamie Kern Lima interview Monica Lewinsky, and the whole topic of shame was just all through this interview. You may remember that Monica was involved in a scandal involving her 2 year apparently sexual relationship with Bill Clinton, and this was way back, I don't know, 20 years ago or more. And she had terrible fallout from this. And my heart just went out to her because, as I've been telling you, honestly, I've been dealing with shame in my own life, not from anything nearly that dramatic, but I was raised up on this shame, discipline, shame on you, bad girl, shame on you. And, you know, I heard that so much by the time I was 5 years old, I was already underneath a whole pile of shame. And that just got heaped on and heaped on and heaped on until I went away to college when I was 18. I was just shrouded in shame. And I didn't even realize what it had done to me, friends, until very recently. I've certainly dealt with the topic of shame over and over throughout my life. But the realization that I was living in what I'm now calling the shame prison, that was a revelation to me, and that only happened a month or two ago. And when I realized that I was living in a shame prison, and what I mean by that is a filter, that everything that was coming into my life about me came into this, all I can call it is like a construct of something wrong with me. I'm bad. There's something wrong with me. And for the life of me, couldn't figure out why this was so strong. But now I know that the strength came from 18 years of shame on you, shame on you, shame on you, shame on you. And it got wired into my nervous system. I'm always showing you my neural pathways in my head because that's where it is. Any little thing could, and I'm still dealing with it, can trigger this shame. And shame is bad for us, friends. It is one of the very worst emotions in terms of aging because it takes us into this shut down, this freeze response. And there's no healing that can be done. There's no maintenance. There's no taking out the trash body mechanisms that function when you're in this crouched down freeze position. It's very, very destructive. And so it's so important. I mean, I hate talking about this. I don't, I don't want to be talking about shame, but I'm laughing because now that I've sort of identified the shame prison and let myself out of it, it isn't the tragedy that it used to be. I don't want to minimize the suffering that you may be experiencing because of it, because that's where I was living, and I know how hard that is. But on the other side of getting freed of it, it isn't. It isn't the heavy weight that it used to be. It doesn't make me cringe down like that so much anymore. Um, I described it like a texture that you live inside. Like a fish swimming in the water, the water has a texture. And shame, it has, uh, that's a funny word, but maybe it gives you the kind of feeling. It's a texture that it's an unpleasant texture of wrongness. There's a wrongness here. And when you don't examine this wrongness, it seems like the wrongness is in you. Well, that's not the case. But it may have got heaped on you like it did on me, and that's why we need to talk about it. So physically, this shutdown is very bad for you. But here's the good news. I'm so happy we're getting to the good news. I found my word for dealing with shame, and I want to share it with you in case you feel that the way that I did. The word is scorn. That's not a word that you hear much anymore. It's not a popular word. But I think we need to resurrect it, friends. Those of us that are wanting to let ourselves out of shame prison, we need to resurrect this word because scorn means to dismiss a thing with authority. Like, this doesn't belong, and I'm not giving it any attention. I'm not giving it any energy. I scorn this. And it tends to have a little bit of an arrogance attached to it, but if you're dealing with shame, this is a kind of a homeopathic type antidote. So I think it's very good to ignore, to scorn the shame. And that's my battle cry now is to scorn the shame. But I don't want to talk like I think that I can't do anything wrong, because that's not the case either. It's very important to have a humble enough life that when we make mistakes, and we all do, and if we hurt somebody, when we make the mistake, especially, it's very important to humble ourselves and go and make amends in whatever form or fashion that needs to happen. We need to admit our mistakes so that we can learn from them and make apologies. So if you feel shame, it's very important to say, what did I do? Is this mine? Do I deserve this? And if the answer is yes, take immediate action. Fix it. Do something about it. Make amends. That's good. That's a humble life and a life well lived, because if you make a mistake, you need to learn. And it needs to be okay to learn, because that allows you to try new things, try things you've never done before. And when you try things you've never done before, sometimes you fail. And if you fail, maybe you failed because you made a mistake. And, I mean, there's a reason to sometimes feel ashamed of yourself. And there's nothing wrong with that. And I don't think that that decimates the biological systems in your body because you've made a mistake. Okay, we'll deal with it. But where it is a problem, and the discernment that I'm asking you to develop is to be able to tell when it's not yours and scorn it, refuse. No, this is that old mechanism that's firing off these neural pathways in my mind. But this is not mine. There's nothing shameful here. I scorn this. I refuse it. I will not entertain this. And that, in my opinion, is a very effective way to help your body find its center, find its happy place, so to speak, where this is the parasympathetic that we're talking about here, where the healing and the regeneration and the youthing, my lovely little word, the youthing hormones are generated, the growth hormones are generated. And you bring yourself back into heart coherence. We talk about this a lot because this is the major foundational pillar in our youthing toolbox, is to tune back into the heart, to allow it to establish a beautiful rhythm, and to use that rhythm to set the whole body back into a calm and peaceful state and live there, not live in this fight or flight or freeze reality that's so common these days. This is why we really, really have to look the aging default in the eye and scorn it too. And I'm not kidding. I'm not letting the aging default run my body when I have consciousness to make a new choice. And that's what I'm trying to offer you, the willingness and the ability to say, no, I'm not going out there in fight or flight or freeze. I'm coming back, coming to my heart coherence. I'm coming into a calm, centered state. I'm taking effective action to deal with problems if I have them. And when I don't have problems, I'm just enjoying, I'm reveling in the bliss of the moment, the beautiful sights to see. I'm looking out my windows and the leaves are coming back on the trees. There's a whole stand of trees behind my house and they're barren in the winter. Their little branches are just sticking up into the sky all bare and naked. And now spring is coming. And the leaves are coming out. And every day it gets greener and greener and greener. The grass has gone from brown to green. I live in Texas, I know. I was talking to a friend in Minnesota last night. More snow up there for them. But down here, it's really getting into the springtime. And I'm letting myself take in the energies of spring and let it feed and restore my body and help me to brighten my living flame. So, I always like to talk a little bit about love because in my lexicon, my dictionary, love is what's making those leaves come back on the trees. Love is what's making the grass turn green. Love is the ordering, regenerative power of all life on planet Earth. And when we realign ourselves with that love and with that living flame that comes from that love, that's when we live a life of enjoyment, of happiness, of contribution, of value and purpose. Purpose, very important purpose. Passion, vitality, radiance. These are the words that really light me up, and I hope they light you up too. So that's the love bridge for this week. Now let's do our guided practice, and this will be enjoyable. So again, if it's safe for you to do so, you can either grab a mirror or do this in your mind's eye. That's fine too. And just look at or imagine your face in that mirror. Just noticing, not judging, not peering and looking for flaws or imperfections. Just noticing. Ah, there I am. And noticing. Are you relaxed? Are your shoulders down? Are your eyes twinkling and sparkling a little bit? Is there a little bit of a smile at the corners of your mouth? Or is there a little bit more of a hunched over type of a posture? Are you having trouble looking at your eyes in your real or imagined mirror? Just noticing what do you see over there? Now put your hand on your heart and bring to mind a moment, a person, a memory, something big, something small, but something that you treasure. Cherish. These are the words that I want you to find your little thing to focus on. Something that's treasured, something that you cherish. And bring that more and more into your awareness, getting brighter and bigger in the screen of your mind. And doing that long enough that you feel that calm centeredness coming over your body. And then just let yourself remember something that feels shameful. And ask yourself, is this something that I need to take action on? Or is this not even mine? And if it's not yours, I want you to firmly, firmly say, I scorn this. 3 times. I scorn this. I scorn this. This is not mine. Now just let yourself smile and realize that you just put down something that was heavy. Or if you did identify something that needs correction, just know that you can correct it, that you're a big enough, strong enough, loving enough person to make it right, however it needs made right. And then you can scorn the shame, because once you make it right, there's nothing left to be ashamed of. So have your stance toward your life be, I carry what is mine to carry, and I scorn any shame that's not mine. So this is the luminary stance in a very fundamental level, to be oriented toward love and to refuse to entertain not loving thoughts, especially the ones that never belong to you. There's all kinds of shame that comes from our culture, when you're a woman who's getting older and you're not young and you're not all those things. I don't even want to use the words that we don't associate with being a woman, a mature woman of age. Yes, we left that part behind, but look at the part that we're in now. The more that I work with the You Think Secrets, the more that I fan my living flame and feel myself living from that living flame, the more powerful I feel, the more on purpose I feel, the more I lean into my mission and feel that I'm making a positive and powerful contribution. And I know that as my voice gets stronger and my courage gets bigger and my message goes out farther, that there are millions of women just in this country alone who are ready to hear this, that they can scorn this shame and fan the flame of their own aliveness and live a radically alive life. That's what I wish for you, my friend, to live a radically alive life. So that's my contribution for today. I love you so much. Come back on Monday and I'll see you again then. And bye for now.